ask any Indian cricket fan if he has heard of the fake IPL player, the chances are his face would break into a smile. The blog attracted 150,000 visitors almost every day, looking for entertainment and escapades of cricketing legends. Call him a prankster or unconventional, but he changed the way fans received cricket news in this country. Today, he is building a social web around live sports broadcasting through pitch invasion. Please put your hands together for Anupam Mukherji.
Hello, everyone. We'll wait for the presentation to come up. Thanks for the great introduction. So I really don't remember what substances I was under the influence of that night when I thought of the idea of doing an anonymous blog giving out inside information. But I wasn't on the inside. I was living in Bangalore. I had a small company. And because I was on my own, it gave me enough time and leeway to do stuff like this. But what I do remember is the next day morning when I woke up, unlike many of the other ideas that I get late nights, this one still seemed pretty exciting. It seemed that I could maybe, continue that. I'll just get the slide changer. Yeah. Thanks. So the next day, I was on G-Talk and I was chatting with my college buddy Bhaskar, who lives in Shanghai. And I told him, this is April 17th, 2009. April 18th is when IPL was beginning. And we started talking about IPL. And I told him that I want to do something like fake IPL player. So it says, एक blog शुरू करते हैं, the blog of an anonymous IPL player. नाम नहीं disclose करेंगे and write about all juicy, saucy stuff from the IPL without naming anyone, just giving hints. And then I said, final के बाद disclose करेंगे कि ये hoax था. So, and he also said कि हाँ अच्छा idea यार, करो करो. And at that time, I had no idea what it's going to become. But when I went back to this chat conversation to understand what was going through my mind at the time, I feel that I had an idea that this could be big. Like I asked him, लेकिन SRK और ललित मोदी हाथ धो के पीछे तो नहीं पड़ जाएंगे? So then he said, if that happens, it's not that bad. Means the blog is doing well. And then I said, absolutely, we can always say sorry later on. We didn't mean to harm anyone, hurt anyone's feelings. At that time, I thought that I'll name it Faceless IPL Player. But I also shared this idea with a lawyer friend of mine, and he gave me 3 pieces of advice. He said, call it fake, don't use any real names, just describe them, and put a disclaimer at the bottom saying everything is fictitious. And once you've done this, you can do whatever you want to do. So, thank God for friends like this. So I did put fake IPL player. Instead of descriptions, what came naturally were nicknames, which became extremely popular. Half the reason were the nicknames that were popular, and the disclaimer. And reverse psychology worked in this case. The more I try to convince everyone that it is fake, the more people believe that it is real. So, and the blogging began. First I started writing posts, short posts, introduction, opening ceremony. At that time, I hadn't shared the link with anyone at all. And for about 2-3 days, I just kept writing 3-4 posts every day, building my persona, writing about what's happening around. And I wanted it to get the story to have enough meat for the first time visitor to get hooked onto it. If I'd shared after the first blog post, किसी को कोई interest नहीं आता. So one morning around 7 o'clock, I wrote this piece called Opium Night. Now this was timed according to 4:30 a.m. South Africa. It talks about, as I write this, I'm nursing a slight hangover and sleep deprivation. It's 6:30 a.m. here. I've just woken up. My roomie is still asleep. Blah, 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 blah. Essentially, I wrote about one night in a club called Opium in Durban. I'd never been to South Africa. Like, forget South Africa. I'd not even been to Africa. But thanks to the friends at Google, I knew enough about, so I Googled Durban nightclubs, and this one seemed good, seafront, 3 levels, dance floor, there's that, cricketers could go to such a place. And by this post, I had introduced all my principal characters. So Vinny Dildo had been introduced earlier. Apam Chutia was introduced here. Kishan Kanhaiya was introduced here. Prince of Patiala was introduced here. So by this time, I realized that my story is complete. So KKR, dressing room, conspiracies, who's sleeping with whom, all those things. Sara pura IPL ka masala is ready. And that day, I sent it to 15 people on Facebook, 15 friends of mine who I know were interested in cricket, saying that, guys, I just chanced upon this. I don't know what this is about. Do you have any idea about it? And I just sent it and left it at that. Dheere dheere maine dekha ki these are the people who were putting in their comments. And then I saw some other people started to comment who I didn't know personally, but they were like common friends. And then unknown people started commenting. And then it reached followers, 17 followers. And I thought this is a huge number. And it was, so I wrote one blog post saying, please look at the disclaimer, everything is fake. And then one day, so before the KKR match, I had written that Lodi is going to open and it's been decided. But the day of the match, when I woke up, I thought that I don't think Ganguly is going to open. McCullum and Gale will open and Ganguly will bat at 3. Buchanan won't make him open. So I just changed it. I said, just out of the team meeting, Lodi will bat at 3. He's very pissed about it. And Skipper and Calypso are going to open. Just changed it right then and there and put it out. And when the team was announced, lo and behold, that is the batting lineup which has been announced. And as soon as that happened, Cricinfo put it on their homepage. And when that happened, I'd gone for lunch with 42 followers on the blog. When I came back, there were 142. And I was like, what happened? Then I went to Cricinfo and I saw that, and after that, it just went ballistic. This was the next day, morning. I used to take DNA at the time. I opened my door, picked up the newspaper. Right at the bottom on the front page was this: fake IPL player has a ball with blog. Fake in inverted commas. That day, NDTV did a story on it. The next day, 24th April 2009, every newspaper in the country and every news channel in the country had reported that there is an insider. I hope the claps are for the media who reported it. So the thing was, it's not that I had managed to convince a few million people that there is an insider. It is the media that had convinced everyone that there's an insider. So the media would say that there is an insider, and they will use words like purportedly, allegedly, but the slant is there is somebody and this has happened. Because the media wanted some news, and this became a source of news. To an extent that I could almost predict what the next day's Times of India headline will be. So one day, and I realized 3 or 4 days had happened and there were no news coverages. So I wrote one thing that Lodi was called, and this thing, he lost his temper, he threw this and he walked out. Next day, blogger impact, Dada quizzed. Okay, so everybody who was coming onto the blog had already read the newspapers and was already believing that it is real. Okay, and then of course everybody had his own theory on who it could be. KKR issued a public statement calling it poison pen writing. And when they did it, I knew that now even if I try to prove to anyone, like even today many people believe I'm hiding my sources. So when a public statement came on a prank, they actually legitimized the blog. And the media totally legitimized it. And midway through, I was just sitting back and thinking, what the hell just happened in my life? Okay. Till yesterday, even people who I wanted to show something that I'm writing wouldn't read it. Today, and the whole world is reading what I'm writing. Strange emotions went through. There was excitement, fear, anxiety, all sorts. I thought that Lalit Modi is very much capable of sending a hitman. So I had planned my escape route, that if there's somebody at the door, where fire escape and all that, everything had been worked out. I met litigators, proper good lawyers, and they told me that the worst that can happen is you could have to spend 3 days in jail. That's the worst. And that's a deal I'm ready to take. So the blogging continued. One of the inspirations was I'd watched this movie called The Hoax. How many of you have seen it? Okay. So in The Hoax, Richard Gere's character has convinced the world that Howard Hughes has commissioned him to write an authorized autobiography. Later on, it turned out that Howard Hughes had not. But he still, till his last day, this character, he told people that Howard Hughes had done it, but he backtracked. The interesting thing is, Richard Nixon, when he was Secretary of State in the 50s, had done a lot of dealings with Howard Hughes. And in 1970, Richard Nixon was concerned about the kind of information Howard Hughes is giving this guy, because of which he sent his CIA and FBI officials into Watergate. And eventually, it was a hoax that brought down the president. So, having been a prankster most of my life, like throughout my college, I'd done an April Fool in an institute like this in Bombay, where the whole college, faculty, dean, director, and everybody prepared for and waited for a media delegation to arrive that never did. So I'd done a fair bit of stuff throughout my life, but when I saw this, I thought that everything that I'd been doing was child's play. Like, you have to do something that shakes the world or brings down the government. And in some ways, the quest for the hoax led me to fake IPL player. Eventually, finally, I released, on the day that I was supposed to reveal myself, I released a video, a shadow video, where I took my table lamp, pointed it at my face, took my camera, aimed it at the image, at the silhouette on the wall, and talked about. The whole idea was that television, which had only shown screenshots of my blog, I wanted to fool them and give them a video that they can air again and again and again. And it happened. Channels like Star Plus did half-an-hour shows discussing this video with lawyers, psychiatrists, and everybody trying to tell, कौन है ये? मेरे ख्याल से ये शख्स जो हैं, पढ़े लिखे लग रहे हैं, पढ़े लिखे. So, as the journey continued, one thing led to another. Failed attempts eventually led to long periods of joblessness, and then World Cup 2011 happened. That I watched very. I was totally immersed into. And while World Cup was going on, I took on to Twitter in a big way, and I suddenly realized that for long, I'm having, after you finish your studies, most of the times you end up watching cricket and sports alone. And with Twitter, I got a feel of community watching again. And I thought this can be taken further. We need to create a platform that is social, where everybody can express themselves. And we started Pitch Invasion in IPL 2011. Again, World Cup ended 2nd April. IPL was starting on the 7th. In those 5 days, we put everything together. We set up the website, hosted it, put it up. And a week into Pitch Invasion, we were noticed. Sprite came and bankrolled the entire season. And that took us on a completely different path. When I started Pitch Invasion, I just thought I will do it for fun during IPL. But it went much longer. I'll play a few clips for you. Play the Sons of Bitches.
Good morning in my bedroom voice. ये तो अच्छा हुआ I didn't sleep in the hall. Otherwise I'd hate to sound how the hall voice would sound. It's good to be here. Thank you.
और ये अनुराग मलिक जो है मेरे साथ कॉलेज में थे और मैडी के साथ भी कॉलेज में थे, लेकिन मैं और मैडी साथ में कॉलेज में नहीं थे. ये जो मिस्ट्री है ये आपको सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. कैसे हो सकता है ये मिस्ट्री? अगर आप सॉल्व कर पाए तो आपको नोबेल प्राइज मिलेगा. Gopi says, and a travel writer, commentator, wow, I am drooling. Stop it. Good morning, Puneet. Good morning, India.
वो बाई को बोलो पोछा ले आएगी.
लेकिन ये तो वैंकूवर में है, उधर तो बाई होती नहीं है.
तो यहाँ से ले जाओ ना, यहाँ बहुत है.
और Dr. Procheta Malik is also there. He says, back in the southern stands today, could this be a historic day for India? For one, I for one cannot remember having not lost here. Yeah, the last time we won in MCG was 1981.
And the last time I got up so early was to catch a train and I missed it.
It's okay.
Not yet, not yet.
अभी तक नहीं.
But अभी when you'll pronounce आंख बंद करके घुमा.
I'll cut this short because we're running out of time. So this is to give you a flavor of the kind of conversations that we do on Pitch Invasion and the social aspect of it, which I think people have enjoyed quite a bit. The current passion, which started with Pitch Invasion and still continues, is to change the way people follow sport. And having run Pitch Invasion since 2011, I realized that it will remain, even if it becomes popular, it will remain a niche. And it will not have the kind of impact that we want in terms of changing the way people follow cricket. And 6 months back, we went into deep dive ethnography, trying to understand what cricket consumers want digitally and how they are consuming cricket content. And the insights were fascinating. Insight number one, we've been completely blind. Take the scorecard, for instance. This is how it used to look 100 years ago. This is how it looked 50 years ago. And this is how it looks today. Even on the web, the print version has been taken and posted there with some extra columns, whereas so much more interactivity can be built around it. We realized that for most, cricket following is about the live match. It's not about pondering over esoteric issues and DRS and all that. It's about the match, and that is all that people are interested in, and that is where we want to create the maximum impact. Because digitally, a match is reported in a very linear way. Some of the things that have come out are people want special moments or precious moments only. So in a scorecard where 22 rows are there, only about 3 or 4 rows are important. And there are many other things which are important which is not even shown there, like a dropped catch or an umpiring error. In an ODI of 600 balls, only 50 balls are what people want to know. But in the text feed, every ball is given equal importance. So that has led us to our new product, which I will not show it to you right now because it's still under development. We will launch it just before IPL. We're calling it the Live Tile Scoreboard. Imagine a screen with 9 tiles, and the tiles change automatically to give you information. So there are some tiles which are fed like score that change whenever the score changes, and at the back end there's a jockey. So we want to take live match reportage out of the hands of an admin who does 23.1, no run, to the hands of a jockey who is curating interesting tweets, sending out interesting statistics, and deciding what goes on each cell. From a user experience standpoint, the way we imagine it to be is a bit like sea gazing. A lot of things will be happening on screen, but at no point will you feel overwhelmed. At no point should you feel that too much information is being thrown at you. It should be, there's design aspect to it, so we have researched how many seconds a new information should come up, how it should come up. It's a bit like if you are sitting and watching the sea for 5 hours, okay, you will never get bored. And it should also meet the 5-second test, that as soon as you come in 5 seconds, you should know exactly what is happening right now and what has happened in the near past. So that is the new product that we are working on. Hopefully it will be out before the end of March and you guys will get to see it. I'll end with the one line that I've taken as my mantra from Joey Ito, who is the director of MIT Media Lab. He said, the internet is not a technology, it's a belief system, a philosophy that lets you innovate without seeking permissions. And that is the beauty of the era that we live in. If you want to do it, all the tools and everything is available to you to actually go there and do it. And you don't have to wait for somebody to give you a job or to commission you or to give you money. If you want to be a writer, go write a blog, let the publisher come after you rather than the other way around. So guys, that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy to create and put them out there, and I wish you my kind of life. Thank you.